if you are a control freak or even a little control freak, because you have a real life example right here, right now, live today of somebody who 8 months ago or whatever it was on the show. We coached her about being it was kind of like control freak detox or whatever. And we worked her through, went through all the issues, and then she implemented them and came out a success. Thanks. What were you able to do to get yourself motivated to do this? All of these questions we're going to be answering today. Type in your questions. Okay, I'm going to give you a recap of the other show. Watch that old show so you can sort of watch the progression. It's very inspiring to see somebody who takes inspiration, acts on it, and makes a difference in their life. It's like this, this is like a victory lap show, but also with a lot of tips. Okay, I'm going to go over the quick control freak detox show from 8 months ago. So basically, this woman, her name is Hannah, not a real name. If you're familiar with the Get Real show, Hannah felt that her husband was taking a bat and crashing down the castles that she had built. She'd been raising all of her kids all these years. Her husband wasn't around. He was busy with his job or whatever. And now he's home. He was home with COVID 24/7, micromanaging her, micromanaging the kids, being harsh to the kids. She couldn't take it anymore. She was just like livid, and her control freak tendencies, which I'm quoting her, that is the secret to her success. Like that's how she is able to accomplish all she did in life was by micromanaging everything. And now he was like throwing this big wrench into the mix. So what did we tell her last time? We told her that that for a man, he has to feel like he has control. For a woman needs something. We've been told for 50 years we need control. We don't need control. Well, control in certain senses we do, but there's one thing we need far more than we ever need control, and that is connection. And once you have connection, you gain influence, which is much, much more powerful than control. When you try and control your husband, it's like it's a battle, it's a fight, because they need it like oxygen, okay? And look, we can talk about these whole sexist things and wait, men and women are exactly the same, whatever. I'm not even going there. All I'm telling you, if you want to have an amazing close connection, just a rapture of closeness with your husband, let him have control. You'll have influence. It's far more powerful. That's what we gave. The homework we gave her last time was to do your best to let go of control. Chill out. Don't berate your husband for every little thing he does. Just chill out. So that was what we told. That was the wrap up of the show from a year ago. Sarit, do you have anything to add to that? I think I got it.
No, that was you. You nailed it. You covered it.
Nailed it. Great. Okay, good. Now I'm going to introduce Hannah again, reintroduce Hannah, and then she can also tell me if I got that right or if there's anything more I missed. So Hannah, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Okay, good. So you realize she's like a witness protection agency. You hear her voice. We have a synthesizer like the size of a doormat right over there, whatever, and it makes her sound like somebody else. Okay, so that's the goal here. Okay, so first of all, did I get the recap pretty much on target, or did I miss anything?
Yes, I think you got it right.
I got it right. Oh my gosh, I don't have water. What am I going to do? Oh, there's water over there. Okay, I'm going to have to go get some water while she talks or something. Maybe I could levitate it. Okay, so so Hannah, tell us, give us the recap. So you have been doing this now for 6 months or whatever it's been. You have, tried to, basically detox of being a control freak. Tell us how it's gone.
So I have learned so much on your program, where I remember your words echoing in my head as a promise that if I stand by my husband, even if he's a little bit more harsh than I'd like to see with my voice, and if I don't like his technique, I think back to your words, and it's reassuring me again and again that if I stand by my husband, I'm making the right decision, and that Hashem's going to reward me for protecting Shalom Bayis, even if it's against my instinct as a mother at that moment to come and rescue my children.
Well, so, Sarit, are you getting who this lady is? Like, do you get this?
Yeah, hello. And by the way, the fact that she came on the first time, I so connected, Leah, because who is the biggest control freak?
Hello. We weren't.
I know you're pointing at me, Leah. I can totally relate to everything that she's saying, like everything.
Okay, that's amazing. But what she just said of the recap meant she really accomplished.
Yeah.
She really heard what we said and heard. And this
Yeah.
isn't Leah Richeimer's great advice. Oh, you know, whatever. This is Hashem. This is Chazal. These are the words from Chazal. It's our 3,000-year-old bulletproof track record of success, guaranteed. So, okay, so you took it upon yourself, even though, like you said, it's uncomfortable as a mother, it's against your instincts or whatever, you were able to do it. So let's hear how that went and how you were able to do it. That's what I want to know.
So when we did our pre-interview before this program, I told you that I don't want to lie to your audience to say that I'm always successful. It is not the truth. I have the skills and the tools, and I measure my progress. If I was, let's just say, unsuccessful 10 out of 10 times before when I came into the show in the beginning of COVID, I think I'm now at about 50% success rate.
5-0.
Which is a lot for me.
Wow. 50, 5-0. 1-5 or 5-0?
5-0.
5-0. Wow.
Yeah, 15 sounded good to me also, but 5-0 is like,
there we go. Wow. So meaning half the times when your husband's there and he's talking to the kids and he's being harsh with them, or he's telling them, you know, things that you don't want him to tell, and he's like ruining the castle that you built with these kids, half the time you're able to do what? What are you able to accomplish there?
So perhaps the secret to my success is that I'm not there yet where I could just stand and watch it or support him in things that I don't agree with, but I walk away. And the most challenging time is Shabbat, when we're all home, and obviously there's no distraction. So I either go for a walk or I go upstairs to read, because I don't think I can hold myself as much as I would like to yet. So I have to remove myself from the situation not to say anything.
That's a
So
madrega.
in those
Yeah.
50% of success, there is probably 25% of just walking away, which I think at this stage of my growth is the healthiest thing I could do, because I'm not there yet to just stand there and support my husband as he does things that I don't agree with.
Okay, so first of all, that's fantastic. That is definitely a level, and that's a stage. In other words, that'll give you the strength when you see the benefits from that. That'll give you the strength to do, you know, what might be next, which is stand there and listening, whatever. But can you, without divulging any specific information about your husband, can you give us an example? Maybe change what he does a little bit so that it's not identifiable to him. But I just want to know sort of what circumstances. Is he sitting there? Is he putting them down? Is he making fun of them? Is he talking, you know?
Okay. So my husband is a workaholic. Before COVID hit, before March, he would spend about 18 hours at work, and I would be raising children and working since they were born. So for almost 2 decades, or a decade and a half, he was a visiting member of the family. He would arrive, we would all cheer that he is there. He was not present 24/7. So that change was very traumatic for everybody, including him. He has all this energy, and he has nowhere to go and nothing to do.
Okay.
So this is a very painful situation. COVID has affected people differently, but in my family, because of that, it has been very, very challenging to carve out a place for my husband as a father and as an active member and as a husband who has not been actively involved in the family on such long stretches of time.
So you're saying they got a father they didn't have before.
Exactly. And he, as I mentioned in the last show, you know, he wasn't there that many hours during the day when they were 5 and 6 and 8 and 9, if you know what I mean. And suddenly he's trying to catch up. He's teaching them things that are taught at the age of 5. And they're looking at him and they're shocked. Like they tell him, you know, don't bite your nails, sit up straight, you have to wash your hands, and, you know, kind of little things that are very irritating. That's one aspect of it. And the children are generally surprised because at the age of 19, you expect certain type of communication from an adult. You don't communicate as if you're 4 or 5-year-old, right?
Right.
So that has been an irritant in my life. That has irritated me a lot, and I think it also might have created some kind of resentment where I suddenly realized that maybe he wasn't there when they were 4 and 5. You know, I wasn't thinking about that. Life was busy.
Leah, can I ask a question? Is it her impression, or is it her, because her kids are older, obviously, or is it that her kids are saying, like, this is how they feel, or they're giving her clues that, I mean, is it like something she's seeing from them that they're actually verbalizing, or is it just her impression of what she thinks?
I was thinking the
feeling?
same thing. That's exactly, thank you for asking that, Sarita. It was like going through my head while you said it. Okay, yeah, so did you understand the question, Hannah?
I didn't hear it so well, no.
The question is that, you know, is you're saying they're looking at him like he's, you know, they're 19 and he's telling them to, you know, sit up straight or whatever. Is that your impression of how they're taking what he's saying, or is that they have told you that that is their, how they feel?
Well, everything I think in our reality is our impression of what people are doing and what people are saying.
But they never said it to you. They never said it. They never said it to you. You just, that's what your gut feeling is about it.
Yes, but I do know my children, and I do think it's irritating to them to be put in a position and to be talked to that they're little children.
Right.
He didn't like embarrass them or put them down, but he's very annoying to them. And I see them being very irritated.
So what have you done now that has worked, and what have the results been?
So what I've learned is that since our last show, and you're reassured that if I stand by my husband, Hashem is going to just make this puzzle into a beautiful craft of peace. I just trust it's going to all work out. So if I put myself in between the children and him, become this buffer, it takes much longer for everything to fall into place, because now there's another conflict in the family between me and my husband, in addition to the one between, let's just say, husband and kids. And if I stay away, kids are very resilient. And I started noticing as an observer after the show that they bounce back to, you know, in a couple of hours they'd be doing something together, and they wouldn't hold it against him as much as I would envision with my eyes that they would. Maybe I would, but they wouldn't.
It's extraordinary. So for anyone who's listening to the show, and I keep the questions coming. I see Sarit has a couple of questions here from me. So, but for anyone who's watching, what you have to, the take home message that you can get from this is, in her mind, he's annoying the kids. He's telling them to sit up straight and to brush their hair or whatever, you know, these things that a 5-year-old would, you know, whatever. And the kids are all annoyed. And so she before was jumping in and saying, oh, come on, don't ask him that, don't whatever. She was kind of protecting them, build a wall. Now there was a conflict between her and her husband. Now there was, the whole thing was blown up into the whole scene. And what she's saying is, now that she just steps aside and doesn't say anything, they're resilient. The kids are doing fine. They're great. You know, yeah, there was this little hiccup in the thing, but it was much less, in her mind, it was this huge thing. But in reality, when she was able to step back, then it was a much less disruption in the whole relationship, in the whole situation. So that's very, very powerful, because I remember when we talked 8 months ago or whatever it was, that you had a very, very, you were like, you couldn't see it any other way than the way you saw it. And that is true for all of us. We are so convinced that we're right about certain things. This is control freak syndrome, which other people have, not me, right? Okay. But, you know, so it's like we see it and we're just so sure we're right. And what this beautiful lady, Hannah, is doing is she's explaining to us that her reality wasn't correct. Do you know how huge that is, to be able to sort of see that and then still act with that? I have an amazing story. This is maybe several years ago. A woman told me that her father never told her he loved her. And she felt really bereft, like he never, you know, like, come on, you know, like I think she was in her 40s or something like that. My father never told me he loved me. And in discussing it and getting deeper into the thing, I was like, what does he do? And she says, well, he's always sending me in the morning. He sends me a note saying, I checked the weather where you are, and you better put a sweater on, or it's going to rain. You're going to need an umbrella. She said, I get these stupid texts from him all the time telling me about the weather. I'm like, she says, that's not like a real deep relationship. I'm like, don't you get it? That's him.
That's so
Isn't that the
sweet.
sweetest thing? That's him
Oh.
saying, I love you. That's his
That's
best he could
sweet.
do. But
That he looks out for the weather for
he
her.
looks
Like,
out
that's so
is that the sweetest thing ever?
sweet.
She was annoyed
Nobody
by
cares.
it.
Yeah, nobody cares about what I'm wearing when I go out. Come on.
I-
I want those phone calls.
I know. Yeah. Like, tell who, if you're watching, have your husband call us. I mean, have your father call us. But the thing is, she completely misinterpreted who he was and what he was capable of and what he could do. And maybe, Chana, this is sort of taking what you've already done to the next level. Maybe him saying, sit up straight, is really him saying, I love you, kid. I want you to be, I want you to have good posture so you'll be stronger in life. We don't know. We don't know why God, we talked in the last show, we talked about why would God do something so crazy? He has a very soft woman who nurtures, and we're psychologists. And we get on our hands and knees and talk to the kid. How are you feeling today? And the guy's like, get in timeout. What did you do? Whatever. Like, the styles are often so different. This is a generalization. So, there could be women who are more like that and guys who are more like that, whatever. Give up. I'm just using in a broad generalization just to accept the way each other is. Like, God gave both of you to raise this kid. And we're so convinced that our way is the highway. And having a husband, who's saying, sit up straight and whatever, so the kid's rolling his eyes, and maybe he's rolling his eyes at you, Hannah, but in reality, there's a level of if the father didn't love him and care for him, he wouldn't say such a thing. So in a sense, maybe that's slowly dripping in. Maybe it's annoying, maybe the kid's annoyed, but there's somewhere in his neshama, in his deep soul, that he understands, Daddy loves me. So you're interrupting that may have done harm and thwarted that love from growing in. Just saying, it just, maybe this will also help you and strengthen you to get you from 50% to 55% or whatever. Tell us this, when your husband is doing the annoying thing, explain to us, Hannah, what goes through your head? Like, I know I would just be like, here it is again. Like, I'm gonna have to leave the room. I'm gonna have to go take a walk. What am I, like that. What goes through your head that gave you the strength to grow in this way? That will really help everybody who's watching, have the strength in the heat of the moment when it's actually happening.
Okay. I just wanted to add that, the annoying things is just one part of what I'm dealing with. My husband is very passionate about the current political situation in the country, and I'm not going to go into details, of course, about his views, but he turns most conversations at the Shabbat table or at any family gathering into a passionate, monologue about what he thinks about the political situation in the country, and everything is turned into this tabloid and where what his view is about the future of this country. And it's turning our family time into a, CNN or Fox News. And I find that also to be incredibly difficult to bear because we have limited time with our children as they're growing, and I want to learn about their lives, and he wants to rant and get it off his chest. And most importantly, he wants his children to know where he stands and what the right way is. And interestingly enough, anybody could say that he said it so many times. I think the neighbors of the entire city where I live know what his views are. But he still worries that they don't know what the right thing is or where he stands. And he just keeps on repeating himself. And again, children find this to be very annoying. It's the same thing again and again.
Have you ever discussed this with your husband in a kindly way?
Yes. And he just feels like this is his responsibility, along with, teaching them life skills and morals and values, to teach them about right and wrong in his eyes, and to teach them that, to understand what's real, what's not real. So he said, I needed to step back and I needed to give it time to teach the children how to think, because that is more important than, teaching them. And then he would use an example of what I think is important. It's more important than going together for goals. It's more important that you know what's right and what's wrong in this world where everything is turned upside down. And I agree with him, but he's repeated himself so many hundreds of times that every family outing is turning into this political.
So is he open to
campaign.
is he open to a compromise? Say, I think you're right. I really do want the kids to have your values or to understand your values and where you're coming from. And, maybe they might choose something else. That's their prerogative. But I do want them to know it. Would you be open to, instead of, the entire Shabbos meal discussing that, would you be open to maybe between the soup and the fish, or between the fish and the,
Yeah.
or between.
Unfortunately, once he gets going, he can't stop. I almost feel like he gets into this adrenaline.
I was just gonna say, Leah, politics, when it
it's
comes to
almost
politics, it's an
impossible
all
to
or nothing.
control.
Right. So,
Mhm.
let's couch this for a second. We have a
Yeah,
question.
people
Let's
are
take
actually saying, people are actually commenting that politics is like a topic that today, you literally have, it's between siblings, it's between friends. My friend actually was talking to me today, and she said, there has been so much hate and disparity and people not agreeing, and suddenly everyone's like saying their opinions and they freely say it. It has turned the whole world around. And today you really can't say anything. You literally can't say your opinion, period. You have to remove politics. It should be like the phone has to be put away when you come home. Politics needs to be kept outside the door, because I don't think anyone agrees.
It's true, but I don't think that I don't think her husband's going to go there.
I know. But
Not
I'm
happening.
telling you, I know the way. I have people like that who, when they start talking about it, they won't shut down. They just and
Right.
until I'm just leaving, I can't take it.
Right. So okay, go with your question. I want to mull that one.
And
over.
then I'm going to tell you the question that came in from Facebook. Someone asked, how do people know how someone will parent if they never had kids? And if they become, meaning if somebody is dating somebody, how do they know how they'll be a parent? If they've never, because obviously she's having parenting issues with her husband. And how do you know even before? I don't even know if you could fix that anyways. I feel like you have to work with it, but this person wants to know, how do you know to prevent it?
Right. Okay. That's very good. So actually, you don't want to prevent it because you don't know why God put the two of you as parents, and whatever the kid needs. Like, she might think it's very annoying, whatever. It could be. I don't know, but it could be. It's conceivable to think that her husband talking for politics for, this kid had to listen to it for 5 years straight for 5 hours every week. Right. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is like too much, whatever. And then the kid gets put in a position, he becomes the vice president of a bank or whatever, and he has to make some critical decision that's going to affect hundreds of thousands of people or whatever. It becomes, Rosh Hashiva of somewhere, and he's affecting, many, many children, whatever it is, wherever he ends up going and whatever he ends up doing, maybe he'll think, oh, I should do this way. And maybe he needed that. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that we're so positive that it's detrimental. Look, I'm totally on Sarit's page. It should be, put your phone away, put the phone, talk about politics or whatever. But if you have a husband and you've asked him and you've talked to him and whatever, and he's so bullheaded and strong on it, we are guided by Chazal that whatever our husband is drawn towards, we should support, and whatever recoils him, we should keep away. So if he doesn't like peas, never serve peas, never. And if he loves marshmallows, try and incorporate them, unless it's bad for his health or whatever. Whatever you're supposed to bring things towards him. Now a woman's like, oh come on, he should bring things towards me, and we can get into the whole equality conversation. We're not going there. All I'm saying, if you want to be close to your husband, follow some of these things that God is teaching us to do. You'll get what you want, which is that closeness and that treasuring and that cherishing and that loving and adoring you or whatever. Just try it. Try this at home, a thing. But the point I'm trying to make is the fact that if you have a husband who can't get off that situation, just realize Hashem is guiding everything, and he must think this is what this kid needs. it's not that you can't use your powers of influence and persuasion and say, sweetie, your thoughts are very interesting. You don't have to lie and say, I agree with everything you say. Your thoughts are very interesting on this topic or whatever. But I think I really want to have more Torah at the table. So like I got this book for us called, there's lots of really great books, whatever, Shalom Bayis, Lashon Hara, there's different things, whatever. Can we just spend 5 minutes as soon as the fish course comes out or as soon as the whatever, can we go over this? Try and, if he keeps saying, no, try other things, little samples. If that annoys him, then you can't even do that. Just because this is a battle that you may never win. And the quicker you accept that, the more harmony there'll be in the home. Also, if you're sitting there trying to control your husband, say, I don't like the way the conversation's going. I don't want this to be this way. And blah, 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 blah. And you're trying to control him. He's going to fight back and dig his heels in. And you are it's toast. It's just a battle. Whereas if you say, let's go with it. Look, it's not something I agree with, but I'm going to stand behind you because I love you. But, over time, maybe we can just incorporate a couple of other things. I think you'd be a lot more open to hearing that. Again, why is the husband allowed to be in control of what's the conversation at the table? I don't know. I'm not at a high enough pay scale to be able to answer that. But I will tell you that if you let your husband have that control, he will solicit your advice and he'll say, what do you think we should talk about? If we don't talk about politics, and he'll start asking you to list out. So I get it. And Hannah, you had said that you can tell how annoyed your kids are from listening to the politics again and again, and the same thing, he's repeating himself 10 times or whatever. That could be a special bond he's building with a kid that can't be replaced by any other way. You don't know. So don't be so sure that you are right. Okay, let's go to the question from Sarit.
Yeah, so in general, I think what people are saying is like, at what point does a mother take her own feelings into a relationship? And does it matter that, again, like Hannah's saying, it's not that her kids, someone wrote, it's not that her kids are saying it to her. She feels like she knows them, so she's experiencing them. How does someone separate those two? Because really, if she sat down with her kids and spoke to them, who knows if they would see it in the same way that she's seeing it.
That's one thing. But the other thing is, why is it her purview to manage the relationship between the father and the kid? The kid's annoyed. Well, maybe that's going to prepare him to be a good father, because he'll listen to his kid, or you don't know why. In other words, going in there and trying to fix something that you think is broken when maybe it's not broken. I mean, the husband has his input as well, and he has every right to his opinion. Why should it go the way you think it should go just because you don't like politics? He likes politics and he wants them to have it. So, yes, it might be annoying to the kids. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Yes, it might be annoying to you. Okay, so you go in the kitchen, you chop vegetables, or you said you left a little. It's not ideal, but that is understandable. But the point that Sarit's asking about, how can the wife, when does a wife take into her thoughts in consideration? She has her relationship with the children. Let him have his relationship with the children. Her relationship can't say, oh, were you annoyed by what daddy said? That's terrible. That's tearing down the father. It's tearing down the kids. It's taking away from the kids the feeling of security. You can't do that either. So if they're rolling their eyes, and they roll your eyes, oh, mom, and they roll your eyes, and they're used to you rolling your eyes back like, oh gosh, yeah, he's going again. That is called disloyalty to your husband. It means you're not trustworthy wife. It means you're being disloyal to the single most important person that God put in your life. So you can never, ever, and if you've done this, don't feel beat up on yourself, just fix it real fast. If a kid rolls your eyes at the mother against the father, the mother should kind of give him a stern look like, don't try and look to me to say Lashon Hara and gossip about your father. That's inappropriate. And you might even tell them, listen, maybe at the time you just look away and then later say, I don't appreciate when you roll your eyes at your father to me. It's not appropriate. It's my husband. Please work hard at not doing that anymore. So on top of that fact, what Sarit is saying and what Hannah is saying is that a lot of it's her impression of what the kids are feeling. And if you sat the kid down, which you shouldn't do, and said, what are you thinking when dad's going on and on and on about politics? They might say, well, it's kind of interesting. He said the same thing last week, but he did add something else when he talked about this and that and the other. Who knows? Who knows? They might say, it's a little bit annoying, but all in all, I feel like I learn a lot from these conversations. You don't know what they're going to say, and it doesn't matter. Your job as the wife is to support your husband. And if the same thing the other way around, if you went on and you told the story about, whatever, at work, and you told the story 5 times, if your husband's like, okay, you said that already, let's go on to the next topic. You'd be like, excuse me. You would want to have full expression and your thoughts about what you want to teach the kids just as much as your husband does. And it's really not your business. Now, if it's monopolizing everything and you feel like it's hurting their education, you can broach it to him. It sounds like you already did that. Done. Okay, Hannah.
Leah, I want to second you on everything you're saying, because now that I have become an observer since our last taping, and I started noticing things you pointed out, things you just said again, and I realized that every word of it is the truth. It's the emet. Because I think I might have saved them from a critique or from an annoyance, but I have exposed them to something much more severe that will hurt them for life. That is disharmony between husband and wife. So if I had to choose between, sitting through another annoying conversation on politics, monologue, him ranting about what he thinks, versus protecting my children from that and exposing them to disrespect to their father, it's not even on the same scale. Yeah. It's not even comparison, but I didn't see it this way before.
Yeah.
I didn't see the damage he was doing, and I'm feeling right now a little bit sad for how clueless I was before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell her, by the way, you can always change it, because that was really remember I used to tell you all the time how I was always trying to control the dynamic and how my husband deals with my kids. And as my kids grow older, I start to see how they were not respecting him the way they should, because I had sort of allowed them that thing. And I was always like, what am I doing? This is the last thing I want to do. And you really can't change it. It doesn't happen overnight, but you're really able. What she's doing now is me following your techniques is exactly what changed that. If kids change at any age, they can see the shift happen. They're very intuitive, and they are seeing the change for sure.
It will. And the thing is that, and for anyone who's viewing, the take-home message is that if you put shalom bayis, peace in the home, first, no matter what, the kid's education, the kid's health, the kid's safety, even all those things, if you put your husband first and you put the keeping peace in the home first, that solid ground below the kids' feet will take care of everything, whatever little mistakes, maybe you don't make parental mistakes, the rest of us all do, and all of those mistakes are just like dust that blows away in the wind. It's like nothing. Why? Because the single most important thing, and this is Rabbi Elchanan Wasserman gives over, that the 95% of chinuch, 95% of raising a child is shalom bayis, is peace in the home. And if you have peace in the home, no matter what else ills, poverty, even some kinds of abuse, maybe not abuse, but verbal abuse. In other words, a lot of the, things on the fringes that are terrible for children to experience, they don't affect them. They just don't affect them, or they don't affect them as much. It's kind of like a bulletproof shield to protect your children is going for that shalom. And this is exactly what she's doing. And what Hannah just said is the fact that she has been able to, because she's realized it's more important for them to see shalom than it is for them to be corrected and her husband disrespected. And exactly what Sarit said. That's from a thing I said like about 3 years ago, where I gave a class on it, and we talked about the fact that a woman is constantly correcting her husband and putting him down and whatever, and then when the kids become teenagers, right, they don't respect this man. Mommy hasn't respected him for the last decade. So why should they listen to him? They're shooting themselves in the foot, because that harshness of a man, that strength of a man, if a woman leaves that alone, as the kid's growing up. When the kid becomes a teenager, there's this a little bit of a fear, a yira of the father, which does you good for teenagers, especially nowadays where it's just crazy free for all. Okay. That strength of the father, when you are putting him down and when you are correcting him and making the kids disrespect him and rolling eyes back to one of your kids about daddy, you're ruining your greatest asset for when the kids are teenagers and when they're growing up. So that was the huge.
Yeah. By the way, Dina from Torah Anytime's live stream, who we love you, Dina. No joke, our British counterpart over there.
Yeah.
I told her, no joke, Leah, that she has to join our show. She's amazing. So she actually said, when we shift our focus by hearing these types of talks, we see things differently and realize that actually what they're really meaning doing is an act of love for us and not just a nuisance. That was for before, where like we don't always see it, but we will when we start shifting the focus, which what Hannah was just saying she does. And she said, I actually heard a quote that once that the best thing you could do for our kids is to have a great marriage.
That's 100%. The best thing you could do for your kids is have a great marriage. They will do, this whole thing that a few years ago about emotional, what's it called? It wasn't IQ, it was EQ.
Yeah, EQ, emotional intelligence. Exactly.
Emotional, right, exactly. So the having emotional intelligence, that comes from a father and mother. It's not that they don't, disagree about that. First of all, no fighting, big fights in front of the kids, but even little conflicts, that's fine. They see how they resolve it. Maybe you ask your rabbi, because different people hold different ways on that. But the point is that having parents that have shalom bayis and speak well of each other. I mean, if you can take this on and give one compliment to your husband in front of the kids every day, like, oh, your husband says, oh, I did this. And he's like, oh, I'm not surprised. You're so good at those kinds of things. Anything, oh, it's so appreciate that you bust your tray. So, oh, that was so nice how you, you came, you texted before you came so I could clean the house up a little, or that's very sexist. Thank you. Sorry. No, that you texted. I wasn't worried. I didn't burn dinner, or I didn't, or you brought dinner home, whatever it is, one compliment every day to your spouse. And the kids watch this, it builds them like you can't believe. And when somebody comes along and says, hey, want to try this drug, or you want to, do gambling or whatever, they'll have the strength to resist, because they saw you don't need that for this kind of closeness, right, and for this kind of love. So, okay.
Leah, somebody actually mentioned that in their, they saw, which is actually really cool, but they saw in one of their friends does this with her kids, where she says, daddy feels one way, mommy feels another, and that's okay. But in this house, we follow daddy.
Wow.
So literally telling her kids, it's okay to have different opinion. I may not always agree, but it doesn't matter. I still follow what my husband says.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So for women who've been with the show for a while, and you listen, take strength in that and try and live that. For people who are watching this the first time, they're like, oh my gosh, follow daddy. Are you out of your mind? So we just have a 3,000-year-old bulletproof, guaranteed to make the woman happy. Okay. This is your happiness. Okay. This is not so that you can be a Stepford wife, subservient to your guy and like do it all his way. That if a woman gives her husband that control, why is there one king and then there's a queen? There's only one king in a household. There's not two kings. And I gave this class maybe 8 years ago about how the queen envy, like the queen, how she wants to have control and power. And she's like, I don't want to be the queen. I want to be the king. You can't have a house with two kings. And we know from our sources that the husband's the king, the woman is the wife has the queen. The queen has ultimate, influence on the king. If the queen tries to be the king, there's just bashing heads and arguments and fights and misery, and the kids are miserable and the parents are miserable. So just for those of you who are newcomers to the Ladies Talk Show, a man being the head of the household sounds horrible but if you let the husband be the head of the household, he's going to turn to you constantly. What do you think we should do about this? How do you think we should run that? What do if you let him rule? And if you don't let him rule and feel like you need to rule, there'll be constant battle. So this is try this at home. Don't take my word for it on standing on two feet.
Take my word for it.
take you, it's Sarit's word for it. Yeah, but I'm just saying, try this. You will see miracles in your home. I can't tell you, at least once a month, I get I coach somebody through something or whatever, and or mentor them, whatever you call, and they'll call back or email and they'll say, Leah, did you secretly talk to my husband? Like, I have a new husband at home. What did you do? How did you do that? And the bottom line is, our Masorah is that the husband is the giver, the wife is the receiver, and all I do all day long is teach women to be a receiver. And when a woman is a receiver, her husband becomes the greatest giver ever. And more blessing flows into the home than they ever thought possible. And blessing means the kids are doing better in school. You have more money. You have more happiness, more health, more blessings. And this is not my guarantee. This is God's guarantee. This is, we have a chazal. I have many, many sources that actually I should show, there's 220 sources in Marriage Secrets. This is the Leah Richeimer. This is my book. And and all the proceeds from this book go all for Shalom Bayis to help people. I don't make a dime from that. So just so I can push it all I want, because there's no self-interest except interest in you having a better marriage. But there's 220 sources that teach you. If you become the receiver, your husband will become a better giver and everybody will get blessed. Okay, let's go back to Hannah. Hannah, I want you to tell us what you see for your future and how you can catapult what you have learned and what you have accomplished thus far going forward.
Okay, so I just wanted to also share with you that this particular skill also helped me with my other relationships in life. So I have read a story that helped me understand this allegorically, where you're invited to a king's garden or a king's palace. There are other guests of the king, and some guests are very nicely dressed and they're very polite, and then there are other guests that are not very learned and not very classy. But you're a guest of the royal family. You're a guest of the king himself. So you stand there humbly in the garden. You're grateful to be invited. And you don't judge other guests. These are not your guests. You're just amongst them. So I really connected to that story because I could be controlling in not only my marital situations, but in other places in my life. And I could be, not proud of it, but I could be a little bit judgy in my heart. That person is not classy enough. That person is not humble enough, or whatever it is. So that particular story goes back to the situation with my husband, of course. And of course, it goes back to my relationships with other people where I'm humble to think that I'm one of the guests of the king's palace, this world. And my husband is the way he is, and he's invited here. He's given me as a gift by the king himself. And I don't have to constantly agree, and I don't have to understand. He was invited here by the king himself. So was I.
Yeah, I love what she's.
I love my part and accept other people being invited, not on my behalf, but on behalf of the king. So
by the way, yeah, it's beautiful. And it's so funny that she's saying that, because for me it's the opposite. Because when I stopped controlling my husband, I took your advice, Leah, and I'm like, I'm controlling everyone else. I'm like the housekeeper. I'm like, who else can I control? Like, I have to put all my control. I have to take it somewhere, So I'm like, I put it on everything else, and it's so true that it's a really nice flow on it, that it's like you could just let go in other areas of your life also. You don't
spin, right? You don't have to control. Okay, so this was a gorgeous story. I absolutely love it. I wanted to get to one point you made in the pre-show interview, which is about becoming an observer, because I thought that was a very powerful thing that you did, and I think it will help our listeners a lot. So can you explain that? I mean, I have a whole section about anger, about being a bird's eye view and sort of removing. There's actually a whole chapter on that. So I want you to talk about that, because it's a powerful tool, and I think it will help people, particularly those of us who are control freaks, to be able to get to loosen the need to clutch in. So yeah, explain that, Hannah.
Yes, I'm right here. I'm just trying to think how to compose this. I mean, I thought that it was my personal task in the world to correct people and to have like a certain agenda. Like, my husband should sit at the table and he should talk about this and that, and he should not say this and that. And I had a whole agenda of what life should be like. And then when I envision that, he doesn't have to have my agenda. Like, he's made the way he is and he's wired the way he is wired. Because he was brought into this world, by Almighty God, gave him certain weaknesses and strengths and desires and reactions to whatever situations he may find himself in. I find that I'm no longer in a position to correct him or to even have an opinion about what his reactions are. He's doing what he sees fit because he's an equal guest with his palace, with his garden.
That's very good. So what, in the heat of the moment, rather than being, having your internal, like being charged with like, or whatever, when he starts talking politics again, what is, how did you train your mind, and what does that look like where you,
Okay, I understand what you mean.
Okay, yeah.
So I literally have to chant to myself. I find myself at 3 stages. If I'm in a good mood and I feel great and everything is good, I will watch my husband do things that I don't like or disagree with and just smile and nod and show active support. Even though I am like fuming inside, I'm just in a good place. And I just accept that he's just different, like, and that's okay. If I can be on that high level, that's about 10 to 15% of the time, when I'm in such a high emotional state, when everything just falls into place. Then my second lower stage would be, I literally sit there and I ran to myself the same, I have a mantra like, Shalom Bayis, the harm that he's doing is not long lasting. They'll forget in 2 hours. If I involve myself now, this is going to be more harmful to them. Watching a fight between parents or
is this unbelievable? Is this unbelievable?
And I just chant it to myself again and again, literally with your voice. You now live in my head.
Okay, that's adorable. But yeah, wow. So you're just like.
But the third one is that if I can't do that, I just have to remove myself. I literally excuse myself, and I find an excuse. And if the meal is over, I try to take a bad, not to make it into like a thing. But I just go for a walk or I'll go read a book because it's better that I remove myself than to criticize. So my success is about 50% right now.
It's fantastic. Okay, we have a question coming in. Let's get that one.
Actually, somebody was commenting on how amazing that, all that she's done so far and in her growth. And it's like that it's a little bit sometimes easier. I just want to read it. So I'm pulling up the screen, but that it's easier sometimes to hear it from somebody else, but it's not so easy when you actually have to do it yourself. So being that observer is such a, like you keep saying, Leah, that bird's eye, if you had a bird's eye view of what was going on, then you could sort of step back and say, wait, do I want it to play out that way? But in the moment, someone's asking, how do you get to that? How do you step back and say, I'm not going to control the situation and I'm just going to observe?
Right. Yeah, no, it's very good. Especially, habits are super hard to break. And they say that you have to do it, I don't know, 30 times or whatever till you break a habit. So don't get down on yourself when it's not so easy. But basically, if, you're in a situation, and let's say the thing that annoys you is your husband talks politics. And so there you are. And like steam starts coming out of your ears or whatever. In that moment, what Chana is saying that she has taken on is being able to say to herself, Shalom Bayis is more important than this, more important than anything. So for instance, your emotions and your reaction and your habit of doing this is going to make you and like want to attack and do the same thing you've done for 20 years or 10 years or 5 years or whatever that hasn't worked, just made you more frustrated, made us friction between you and your husband. It's made the kids, do poorly in math. I'm not joking. There's a spiritual reality to Shalom Bayis, meaning if you work on Shalom Bayis, a lot of the other things that you are spending a lot of your time now dealing with, the car breaking down and the dishwasher keeps not working and all those things, if you work on Shalom Bayis, we have a guarantee from our sources. We have a guarantee that your life won't be perfect, but a lot lot of the things that are troubling you now will be, Hashem will take them away because you're putting all of your energy into Shalom Bayis. And I have an interesting story. I have a very close friend of mine who, she's very, very capable, and she has very, very many children. And she, a lot of times when there's somebody in the community needs drastic help, this person, the rabbis will call and, can you help this person? And whatever, and they'll sort of conspire, and she's the go-to person. And so she'll go and she'll take this person, and she'll if it's a indigent, what do you call it, indigent, a guy who doesn't have a job or whatever. So she'll call up an almana, a widow, and she'll say, oh, do you have a couple of suits I can borrow for that you have left in the closet for this man? And she'll call somebody else, listen, I just have a favor. I know you have an extra car sitting there. Can you give it to this guy for, and she'll put all of her energy into getting him job opportunities, apartments and cars and whatever. Now everyone's going to want her phone number, but she just turns her whole life upside down to help this person. And then the guy doesn't show up to the job interview, or he'll come and he'll rip the suit because he doesn't care, he's being careless, whatever it is. And she just has so much stress from this. And she realized one thing, and this is what she told me. She said, I've been doing this kind of thing for about 5 or maybe then it was 5 or 10 years. And I realized one day it hit me, when I'm taking care of Hashem's child, Hashem is taking care of my children. This kid did better in English thing. This one got into the camp they wanted to. This one, oh, things just looked beautiful because I'm taking care of God's children. He's taking care of mine. So by the same token, when you are taking care of Shalom Bayis, God will take care of your children. This is just the most gorgeous lesson. It kind of takes all that angst and pressure and stress over being the perfect parent. The perfect parent is taking care of your husband. Now, if you're single, it's a different story, and you have children and whatever, then it's a different dynamic and different things. But I'm talking about in a situation where you're taking care of your husband, a lot of the problems that you're concerned with will take care of themselves. Did that answer the question that she asked?
Yeah, totally. And somebody actually, Dina from Tiny Times live stream said, Hannah is such a strong person. So
yeah, I'm just so
props to her.
Yeah, exactly. Hannah, it's just incredible. And do you have any final words for us, words of advice for us in how you've come from, whatever it was, 3% or 0% or -% to 50%? I mean, it's really an incredible.
Yeah, I definitely was at a 0 when I had first taping with you at the beginning of pandemic. And right now, I think the only advice I have to myself, first of all, and to all the sisters that are listening, Jewish sisters that are listening, is that I think we need to work on ourselves, not when we are in the moment of heat and anxiety and anger, but throughout the calm days. Just think about it, ponder about it, remind yourself about it. So when you are in that situation where you just want to scream and cause a scene, you're prepared for that. Because once you're in a battlefield, you cannot work on your patience. You should do it probably before you get to that.
That's exactly right. Have a plan. We discussed that in the last show, of having a plan of what you're going to do and how you're going to handle it. And sound like you had a plan and then implementing it. Maybe half of the battle is to get a plan. Like, what are you going to do? And some of the things that Hannah said, everybody listening, take her advice into it. Walk away. Do some of the tactics that she did to give you the strength. So have a plan, and then in the heat of it, keeping in mind, and this is what she's been doing that was the strongest, is saying, Shalom Bayis is more important than whatever else is going on here. It's fantastic. Hannah, it's so inspiring. I can't even tell you. I'm sure all of us are, and people write in and email if you have thoughts or whatever. We'll pass them along to Hannah if you have private comments for her. But I just want to really acknowledge you for the amazing work that you've done, Hannah, and for your ability to give it over and share it in a way that all of us can make strength, gain strength from it. So thank you very, very much. Thanks everybody for being on the show. This is Sarit. Did you have any last thing before we head out? Sarit went to nurse her baby. Where'd Sarit go? Hello.
No, I went to check the other feeds to make sure that no one else had any questions.
Okay, good. Okay, so we're good. Thank you so much for being with us, Hannah. We love you. Thank you all, everybody, for being here with the Ladies Talk Show. We'll see you next time.